No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Something is about to break.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to the About to Break podcast. This is the show where we talk to artists and entertainers about the ups and downs of trying to break into their industry before it breaks them. And right now, you're listening to a tune by my buddy Ethan Luck. Ethan has played in every band on the planet that I've ever loved. From all the way back in the day with the OC Supertones and Relient K and the Dingies, and went on to play with Kings of Leon for years on the road, and now is producing a full-length solo project, Let It Burn. It's so rad. This album is great. I've got a sneak peek of it. It'll be released soon, but we're going to share with you some of the tunes here from the album. I sat down with Ethan in his home studio, and if you want to take a look at what his studio looks like and how he's set it up, it's pretty rad. You can go to our Patreon page. Thank you to everyone who's sponsoring us on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can get access to extra content that's not here on the show, and you can help us support the show. So some people give $1 a month. That's great. We thank you for that. Some give 10, some give 50 a month. I can't believe it. But all that money goes to help offset the cost of producing this show and the time it takes to make it. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting the show. You can find out more about that at abouttobreakpodcast.com. Click on the Become a Producer button, and it will send you over to our Patreon page. Or you can go to Patreon directly, patreon.com/abouttobreak. And you can be a producer of this show. Like I mentioned, I just got back from Nashville, performing at House of Cards. Brand new venue. It's only been open 4 months. Was there 7 nights. Did 4 shows a night. You know, there's something about doing a show multiple times in the same evening. And, doing that same show over a series of nights, it makes a huge difference just as you're kind of honing stuff. And I'm so excited because I didn't just have a great time performing, but I came back with some really fun bits. And, it's always fun when something happens in the show and it's improvised and it's crazy and it's wild. And then you go, okay, how could we create another moment like that in the next show? And I had an absolute blast. Katie came with me. We had never done Nashville before together. So Katie came out for the first couple of days, and we got a little Airbnb and just had a great old time hanging out and exploring the city. And then when Katie left, to save a little dough, I went and crashed at my buddy Vance's house. You've heard Vance fight here on the podcast. If you haven't heard that episode, go check it out. Great dude. And he and his wife, Chelsea, let me come crash at their place and hang out with their animals. I love it whenever people name animals people names. So like their dog's name is Brandon and he's a pug. When you see his little pug and he, with his little dog asthma and he comes up and his name is Brandon, it's just like, oh, that's perfect. And then their cat's name is Craig Ferguson. Spelled like you get it. It's a pun, but it's a good one. Anyway, guys, coming up here, let's see, where am I going to be? I'm going to be home for a little while. I'm performing this evening at Scott Neary's Booby Trap. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, Wednesday, September 5th, I'll be at Scott Neary's Booby Trap. And then, let's see, this weekend I go to Reno. Next weekend I'm in Detroit. And then the end of the month, for those of you here in SoCal, September 27th through the 30th, I'll be performing at Knott's Berry Farm's Halloween Haunt, bringing a little spooky magic 4 times a night. Come out and check that out. And here we go. This is it. This is episode 87 with Ethan Luck. His new album is fantastic. It's called Let It Burn. It'll be out soon. But this is more of like a reggae, ska kind of album. And we're going to play you a cut, give you a little sample of track number 2. This is Helpless by Ethan Luck.
this without you.
Hey everybody, welcome to About to Break. I'm your host, Taylor Hughes, and right now I am sitting across from Ethan Luck in his amazing home studio in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you for doing this, man.
Dude, thanks for hitting me up. Like I said, when you walked in my house, I was really surprised to get a message from someone who is not only a podcaster but a magician. It was one of the most unique messages I got. I instantly told my wife, I'm like, you're not going to believe the message I just got. This dude wants me to be on his podcast, and he's also a magician and invited me to the show.
I just love that you were down with magic, because sometimes I have to send Sometimes I have to send a message that says, "Hi, I'm a magician. Please keep reading."
Yeah, please keep reading. Exactly. No, I'm so down with magic. I have a very small, brief history with magic, because when I was, I guess, just out of high school, at the Irvine Spectrum,
totally, yeah,
a big outdoor shopping center area. I had a friend named John Baker, who at one point they had an outdoor magic kiosk kind of place.
Oh, like Houdini's magic or something.
Yes,
yeah.
And he worked there, and he was learning a bunch of tricks, and he was like, he would always show me stuff like at church on Sunday, like,
yeah,
hey, I got a Svengali deck, check it out or whatever.
Yeah.
So I started learning some card tricks from him, and then at the time I was either on tour or also working at a daycare.
Okay.
So I would do card tricks for kids. And they were the lamest ones, like stuff that, any magician would roll their eyes at. But kindergartners loved it.
Oh, that was my first real job. I had one job. I worked for an appliance store for like 2 days and was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But then I got a job working at an after-school daycare.
Yeah.
Which is like, your job is to keep the kids alive while their parents are working.
Make sure they're not fighting,
Exactly. But the best part was I could practice magic, 'cause
Yeah.
every day they'd be like, show us another trick.
Oh, they think it's the best. And you can actually, because in general, like, you don't ever want to like repeat magic tricks.
Right.
With kids, you can repeat them all day long. Like, do it again. You're like, sure, you're not going to get it.
Right. Oh, they just love it.
Yeah. I went down a brief road where I was like online, like, this is pre-YouTube, but I was getting online, like looking up like card tricks, and
Yep.
I never bought any trick decks or anything.
No.
I never went down that far.
Okay.
Because I wanted to be able to just do card tricks with a normal deck of cards, so someone could inspect them and all that stuff.
Or if you're somewhere and there's a deck, you can just grab it and do something.
Yeah, exactly. But I haven't done them in a good while. There's like one or two I remember, and it's more just like a quick little hand trick that.
Dude, that's great.
I'll have to show you my stuff later, man.
I know.
Maybe I can open for you tonight.
Yeah, you should. You do.
Hey, I'm Ethan Luck. I got 2 tricks.
Yeah. That'd be awesome, man. I could take a little break and watch you perform.
Intermission, man.
Right.
No, I was really like going back to what I said before. I was really stoked to hit me up because it was just so unique, and I was like, this has never happened. Like, and like I said, I'm like, I do love magic. I think it's awesome. Like, I just got done watching that Netflix series, Magic for Humans.
Yeah, it's my buddy Justin.
You know him?
Oh yeah, he's
really?
an LA guy, and
dude, his show is so funny and so good.
Oh, it's great.
I watched it in one night with my friend Patrick because they're only 25 minutes long,
Right.
and I think he's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And super talented.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm thinking for sure he's getting a second season. It was
he
so
has
good.
to, yeah. The whole thing where he gets that group of people together to convince the dude he's invisible.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Is so good. But he makes that one dude actually disappear.
Right.
You almost forget that happened,
right?
Because you're waiting for this other dude to start freaking out.
Oh yeah. It's fantastic.
Oh, he did a great job on that show. I hope he gets a second season.
I think he did a great job with helping people see magic could be different than, most people, they get an idea of, they saw a birthday party clown do a trick with an egg or something, and they think that that's what all magic is.
Right, totally. That, or like they go all the way to like David Copperfield and Siegfried and Roy.
Right.
You can't make a lion disappear?
Right,
Come on.
Right. Yeah, totally, man. Well, I'm so grateful that you said yes to doing this. My buddy, Sean Hale, who he's my buddy and he's my barber. We grew up in bands together, and we were obsessed with like, all we did was go to shows. All we did. It seemed like Thursday night to Sunday. We had this guy in LA. He called himself the Mexican Dude.
That was his nickname.
It was his nickname, and I don't even know his actual name.
Right.
He just, and this was back when no one had we didn't have websites, so he just had a pager.
Yeah.
And he would change the voicemail every Wednesday night to let you know what shows were happening during the week. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember people would do that, like a little hotline.
Yeah, and so people would just pass around, like literally, like scratch right on a piece of paper, call this number.
Yeah, totally.
So we would call on Wednesday night and we would plan out our weekend, and it'd be like, all right, man, we're going to No Future Cafe in Pasadena on Thursday, and
I've
then
been there.
Friday we're going to go to the Glass House, and on Saturday we're going to go to Chain Reaction.
Totally, man.
And so what's wild, man, is when I said I was coming to Nashville, Sean's like, you got to hit up Ethan Luck. Man.
Yeah.
He's there, and he played in every band we ever listened to.
Man, I mean, part of me, my at least younger musical years, kind of grew up like when Chain Reaction first started.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember this one. It used to be called Public Storage.
Oh,
Like
dude.
the storage facility chain. And then they were going to get sued, so they had to change it. But like my first kind of touring band, we played there when it was called Public Storage.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure if you walk in there still, if they haven't ripped up the tile, it was like right before you get to the stages, there's a big PS on the ground.
Okay.
It's probably still there.
Oh my gosh. Which band was this?
This was the Dingies.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember Dingy?
Yeah, there's an old band photo on my wall behind you just hovering. I'm covered up for some reason, though.
You've covered yourself
That was
up.
by accident. That Metallica banner is more important than the Dingies.
How soon, like how early in life did music hit you? When was your first experience with music where you're like, oh my gosh, this is more than just something I listen to in the background?
It would have been age kind of 10 and 11.
Yeah.
It was like right when my family moved from Long Beach to Orange County.
Yep.
We moved to Mission Viejo, and my dad was a guitar player, has been since he was like in junior high. And I remember watching him play like at church or like around town or like just at home, or I would like point out a song to him like, hey, can you play this song? And he would just figure it out by ear. And I was just blown away by that. Like, this is incredible. And like there's no way I'll be ever be able to do that ever.
Was he like classically trained, or was it just he could pick stuff up?
He just picked stuff up. I mean, he took lessons growing up, and he went to I'm pretty sure he went to Long Beach State for a while doing music. So he had some theory background stuff, but he was mostly like an ear player. You know, he could read charts and stuff, but I think his strengths were just learning by ear and playing off of feel and off of other people and stuff like that. So I saw that at a young age, and I was just like, that's really cool. And then one day he was driving me to school and was like, hey, would you want to learn guitar?
Oh, hey, cat. Sorry, the cat.
Yeah, the cat will show up. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I almost peed a little bit. I had my arm hanging off the back of the couch, and a cat just grabbed my arm.
I told you I'm into magic.
I know, right?
I made the cat appear.
Oh my goodness.
He might show up again. He's a frisky little one.
Sorry, but he totally just went.
Yeah, he likes to like if I'm barefoot, he'll come over and just like lay next to my foot, and then within 2 seconds, is just like attacking it. But it doesn't hurt. He just kind of barely touches you.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Where were?
No, it's all good.
Where were we before the feline?
We're talking about David Copperfield. No, so yeah, my dad asked me if I wanted to learn guitar, and I said I want to learn drums.
Okay.
And my dad kind of put a stop to that, not because he didn't want me to, but just because it's like, okay, you're not going to be good right away. It's going to be loud and annoying.
Yep.
Drums are so loud. So he's like, we made a deal. My dad was like, hey, why don't you learn guitar? And after a year, if you absolutely hate it, we'll talk about drums. And I was like, deal. But I got pretty obsessed with guitar like right away.
Yeah.
I mean, I was way into it from a young age. I mean, I think I got my first guitar when I was like 11. Yeah. And it was like the coolest thing in the world, even though it was like a piece of junk from like Sears or something.
Oh, that's great.
I just got obsessed with it. And then, I think through school and church, like just started meeting other friends that played instruments. And that was like amazing to me. I'm like, wait, you play bass? Right. Like, can I come see your bass? Like, yes. I've never seen one other than in like a music store.
Oh, that's the best.
So it was cool. But so I started making friends with, these dudes and who played drums or bass or whatever. And we would start like jamming together and like teaching each other how to play those instruments. So that was kind of the beginning of me like learning multiple instruments too, was like having friends that played other instruments.
What was the music you were into at the time? Unashamed, man.
I can tell you the first three. No, no shame at all, because I still like it. Yeah. I was just getting into like 80s metal, like more glam stuff. Like the first 3 songs I learned were 18 and Life by Skid Row, I Remember You, and Youth Gone Wild.
Fantastic.
Now, I was 11 and not learning every part of it. I just learned like the main riff and could kind of barely get my way through it. Right. But those were the 3 first songs I wanted to learn, were these Skid Row songs. I was obsessed with that first record. But shortly after that, I got into more like actual metal, and then like I mean, fast forward to high school, I was getting into like punk rock and ska and reggae and all this stuff. But
Totally.
yeah, it kind of started with like my dad teaching me about like blues and rock and roll. And then I got into metal on my own, and then it snowballed from there to all sorts of styles of music.
There's something so rad about being a group of kids that are just figuring it out for themselves.
I know.
You know what I mean? And like, okay, now I'll play the drums and you play the bass.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
I mean, at that age too, you're just like this little sponge, and you want to like, you don't even really make the choice to absorb all this information. It just happens. Like,
right.
Like sometimes I'll sit down, like I was telling you earlier, I'm playing a buddy's wedding coming up, and I'm learning a couple songs on drums, and it's still really fun, but it's not the same when you were like 11, 12 years old,
right?
Where you can't get off of the drums or off of the guitar. Like I have to make time to practice now. Like where before it was like, well, that's all I need to do is practice. Like,
right. I don't have a job. I don't have any worries,
Second school's over. It's just like, do your homework. No, I'm gonna play guitar. Like, I'm gonna learn this Metallica song or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, I still obviously music is an obsession of mine, but yeah, you get older, you have more responsibilities. You don't have the same amount of time you had when your parents were paying the bills to devote to music. But I mean, to this day, I mean, I don't think a day goes by where I don't pick up an instrument of some kind,
Yeah.
or just sit down on my drums and play for like a half hour or something. But
when was the first time that you said, hey, you're playing with all these buddies and you guys are just jamming out and playing covers? When was it like, hey, what if we started a band?
Well, my first actual band, so a couple of friends, we just kind of played like, I guess we had a band, but like we basically would play like around at church, like on Sunday mornings for like the high school group or whatever.
Yeah.
But then we would play like around town, other churches. We played like in our high school, like they would do the thing where we would get together with like the events coordinator for the school or whatever, and we were like, hey, can we do like cover songs at lunchtime? Because we had like 2 different lunch periods. So we would play, and at the time it was early 90s, so we were playing like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Nirvana, all that stuff. But I think officially my first band I got asked to be in by dudes I didn't know.
Okay.
Like we had this little thing we were doing. It was fun. We played like our talent show and stuff, but we weren't like gigging,
No.
But yeah, I ended up the band that became the Orange County Supertones.
Yeah.
Used to be a band with the worst name in the world. It was called Saved.
Oh, that was it. That was the band.
That's what became the Supertones.
My band in high school was called VBS. So
Vacation Bible School. Or like very big songs.
We were walking through the church one day and we were like, we need a name for the band. And we saw a sign that said VBS and we're like, we'll just call it VBS.
Yeah.
Like no, just VBS.
Yeah, VBS.
It was ridiculous. We kept that for years.
God, you could have at least come up with another acronym or something.
I know. It was not a
vicious,
good idea. Yeah.
biting songs or I don't know, something.
Oh, man. So you guys were called Saved.
Yeah, they had the band, and then they basically, I think one of the guys called like the music leader at our church and was like, do you know anybody around this age that plays guitar?
Yeah.
So they gave him my number, and I got a random phone call one day from this dude. Hey, I'm in this band called Saved, and we have like management, and we have like this local record label, and we're playing shows all the time. Do you want to audition? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
I never auditioned for anything.
Yeah.
So I went over to this dude's house. It was their drummer Jason, and then so the singer Matt and bass player Tony, the original members, they were all there. Yeah, and I just like brought my guitar and amp over. I wasn't even driving. I was 15.
Dude.
And
was this like, were they a ska band at the time, or
no.
The ska thing hadn't even really kicked off as much, right?
The ska thing was starting to was definitely happening in Orange County, but they had a couple ska songs, but it was also like this buffet of music. It was like they would do like rap rock kind of stuff. They had a disco song, they had a punk song. You know what I mean? It was like everything they could possibly be into. They would write a song like that.
Yeah. So
I auditioned and I didn't know their songs. I kind of just learned it on the fly. And then they're like, hey, I gotta play a solo right here. And so I just started shredding. I was like, I'm just going to go as fast as I can and try to impress them. And they were all impressed and I got the gig.
Yeah. Just go like a full metal solo.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I just kind of just started making my hand move as fast as it could. And they were all impressed by it, I guess. So, but yeah, so I joined that band. And then that's when I started playing like kind of regionally, like not just Orange County. We'd go down to San Diego and up to LA and out into the desert and stuff like that. And that lasted about 2 years. And then we were kind of honing in on ska.
Yep.
and they were wanting to get signed and go on tour and all this stuff. And I was still in high school.
You're still in high school, man, because you're like, what, 16, 17 at the
Yeah,
time?
about 16 or 17. And I think I mildly mentioned it to my parents, like, so the band wants to get signed and go on tour. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I can do high school from the road. Like, that's not happening. You're not doing that. So I had to quit the band, and then that's what led me to playing with the Dingies, because they were all mutual friends and stuff. And that band kind of started as a side project of the Supertones just for fun, and then it became a real band.
Right.
And then, having learned multiple instruments, I jumped in as the Dingies drummer for a couple years for the first record and like 2 years of touring.
How wild to be able to be kind of like a utility guy, like be able to play whatever instrument was needed at the time, and like that probably opened some doors for you, having learned those when you were younger.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, I feel like that's a big part of why I've been able to kind of stay afloat as a musician for so long. Is, you know, someone's like, hey, we need a bass player for this thing. I'm like, cool, I can play bass.
Right.
You know, or a drummer, you know, I play steel guitar. I'm not like a crazy country player, but I can play steel guitar and stuff like that. So it's come in handy for certain things.
It's, you know, when I was younger, I thought, well, you pick one thing and that's the thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be in entertainment, and we talk about this on the podcast constantly,
Right.
you do kind of have to like be able to do a lot of different stuff, not just for your own projects, but like, I mean, my buddy's on tour with Maren Morris as her drummer, but
what's his name? Christian?
Christian, yeah, you know Christian?
I auditioned for Maren Morris.
Did you really?
I did, as an auxiliary guy.
Okay.
And we had a mutual friend that works at this coffee shop that Christian goes to.
Yeah.
We only met at the audition.
Okay.
But our mutual friend I told him I was auditioning for Maren Morris, and he was like, "Oh, her drummer comes in here all the time. He's super nice."
Yeah.
So when I got to the audition, he was kind of on stage, and I was setting up, and I was like, he's like, "Are you Ethan?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Christian." Yes, I'm Ethan. You're Christian. And I'm like, "Hey, we know this guy Ryan." He's like, "Totally." And so he seemed super cool. We chatted for a little while, but it was a really quick audition. I mean, I was in and out of there in a song and a half and didn't get it. But I don't know if I messed. I don't remember. I was just nervous.
Oh, dude, the auditioning sucks.
It sucks.
It's the worst.
The thing that sucks about auditions is, at least in my experience, the few that I've done, is that there's no like hang time beforehand. I wish you could go in, set up your stuff, chill out with the artist and band for like 15, 20 minutes like we're doing here. And then like, all right, cool, let's go play a couple songs now. I'm walking in there. I don't know anybody in the room besides my buddy that helped me, you know, got me in the audition.
Right.
And, you know, I'm all of a sudden I'm on stage, and like Maren turns around. She's like, "Hi, Maren." I'm like, "Hey, I'm Ethan." I'm like, "Nice to meet you." She's like, "You too." She's like, "Let's do this song." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And I hadn't had time to adjust this one mic stand because I was playing keys on this one thing.
Okay.
So like the first chord, I think I chunked, and I was trying to sing like,
oh, dude.
It was so, I set up what I could. It just happened so fast. I didn't have time to adjust everything. I had, you know, the monitor guy was like, "Is your mix sound good?" I'm like, "I guess, I don't know." Like,
yeah,
it was just so fast. And I could tell, at least from my perspective, maybe your friend Christian can confirm or deny this, but it seemed like they were all pretty burnt out for the day. Like they'd auditioned too many people. Yeah.
It's such you're walking into an environment that has been going on and you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, I mean, I've been in, you know, up until 5 years ago, I mean, I was in bands for 15 years.
Yeah.
We'd done auditions. We had done all day, you know, rehearsals, you know, production rehearsals for a tour.
Right.
So I know the drill, and I know, but by 4 or 5 o'clock, you're burnt. And that day, I think my audition was at like 7 p.m.
Dude.
And I could tell they were tired and stuff. And they, you know, for all I know, they already made up their mind before I even walked in the door, you know?
Right.
But, I mean, either way, that dude Christian was super cool. Maren seemed everyone seemed very cool. Like, you know, I didn't,
well,
you know.
And the whole reason I brought Christian up is like, you know, he'll be on tour with her, but then, you know, they'll take months off and he'll be running audio somewhere. Or he'll be doing monitors for someone. Like, you have to be versatile to keep working. Like, it's not like people think, oh, you get in this one thing and then you're just set for life. And it's like, no, buddy.
No. It is nothing but peaks and valleys, man.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm sure it's the same thing in your world too. And it's all entertainment at the end of the day. So like, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad. You know, it's, you know, like right now I'm making extra money driving for Lyft, you know, I'm not like ashamed of it. It's actually really fun.
Oh yeah.
But it's one of those things like, okay, well right now I'm not on the road. I just finished making my own record. I'm trying to figure out what to do with that. So in the meantime, I'm home with my wife, my friends, and I can go out and make money driving for Lyft. Great. This is a fun little in-between gig.
Totally.
You know, you got to do what you got to do. And like you said, learn multiple things too, like multiple skills within your world, because like, I guess I'm sure as a magician, it's like, I play multiple instruments you're not just going to learn magic and just learn card tricks,
Right.
and that's it.
No.
You got to branch out and do stuff. Maybe there's magicians out there that only do card tricks and they're badasses at it. I don't know. But,
There are some, and they're insanely good.
right.
But again, like the opportunities for someone who just does card tricks is limited
Sure.
much more than someone who can do hosting a show or doing comedy magic or doing a stage illusion.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well, and with music too, like if you're a guitar player, that's great. But if you're only like, I only do this kind of music,
right.
you might be successful at it, but it's gonna eventually limit you. I think
yeah.
So that's why it was always my goal not to be like great at one thing, but to be really good at a bunch of things.
Yeah, a little
like
Renaissance man action.
Yeah, like I don't, like I think I feel like I'm a good guitar player. Like I wouldn't say I'm great. Like most dudes in this town could smoke me a guitar, but I can also jump on bass and go play this kind of music, or jump on drums and go play this kind of music or whatever. And maybe they can't.
Yeah.
So like, I think I'm more of I can adapt maybe more. So.
And it's fun too that like you started out, that wasn't your intention when you were 10, 11, 12 years old. It was just, I love music and I want to learn everything I can about it. And I want to play that instrument. I want to do this.
You want to impress the girls playing More Than Words by Extreme.
Yes.
To Be With You by Mr. Big. I mean,
right.
the girls love that stuff at church camp.
Yeah. Oh man, that was it. There was always the guy with the guitar. If you were the guy with the guitar.
Well, I would play it like, like we always did our summer, I hesitate to call it camp because we didn't know there was no camping involved. It was at Point Loma University.
Oh yeah, like the most gorgeous college campus.
Yeah, totally.
We did camp at Point Loma.
Yeah.
We got kicked out after 1 year, but
Your whole church did?
The whole church. Yeah, they were like,
Really?
y'all can't come back anymore.
You're too rowdy.
Yeah, there a couple elevators got broken. It was pretty bad.
But that's where I specifically remember like sitting around with some buddies, like learning songs together, like outside the dorm area where we were camping.
Right.
And we're learning whatever song, and a group of girls walk up and they're like, "Do you know More Than Words?" And I was like, "I do, actually." I start playing it, and they instantly go, "Oh, I love that song."
Yeah.
So that was like, man, girls like when you play the songs they like.
Yeah.
So I'm going to learn those.
I'm going to learn all the songs.
And then I started learning songs girls didn't like Rancid songs and Metallica songs. And
why don't you guys want to hear Time Bomb again?
you don't want to hear One by Metallica another time?
That's fantastic, man. There's something about camp, growing up and being a kid that did church camp. Like, I mean, I told a friend yesterday, I'm just going to live life now as an adult.
Yeah.
Like it's summer camp. I'm here to have fun and make friends.
Totally, yeah.
And I feel like whenever I get out of my head as like, I gotta, stop thinking like I gotta make something happen, or I gotta get this gig, or and I just go, let's just have fun and make friends.
Let's have fun and make friends.
Stuff happens.
Yeah, totally. Like I'm kind of in that mode right now because like the last 4-ish years, I had a really good touring job.
Yeah.
Making good money, and then it all ended last November. God, almost a year ago. And so I've kind of been in this limbo where I've only been on one tour all year. It's like the least busy I've been in 20 years.
Yeah.
As far as touring goes. But it's been nice on the other end to be home with my wife, and I'm not missing things. Like I'm used to being like in Europe, and my wife's at a wedding by herself, and like everyone's having fun, and I'm like, damn it. So like now it's kind of like I'm getting into that mode of like, well, let's just whatever. It's summer camp. Let's have fun. Let's make friends, and I'll figure it out how to pay my bills. And at least I feel like happier than I have in the last couple of years because of it. I think
good, man. That's like, so good.
It's great. I mean, I miss being on tour right now, but I know it'll happen again.
Right.
But for my current state right now, it's been really good to like have that summer camp mentality. Like, my wife and I like go kayaking on the weekends and just go hang out, and it's just fun. And
I feel like the more healthy you keep your mind and your spirit, like things work out.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I mean, even recently, I had a major panic attack a couple months ago, and it was just this product of me just putting so much pressure on myself that I had to make something happen.
Right, yeah.
But you look back at all the different opportunities we get, and so often it's like, I shouldn't have got that.
Yeah.
Like someone just randomly called and is like, do you want to do this really great gig?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Sure, of course.
It's wild, man.
I know. When I was touring with Kings of Leon as like an auxiliary player, I'm just in the background as like a silhouette, basically. But there was a point, the first show I played with them, I don't know why I thought this, the first thought when I walked on stage before we hit the first note of the first song of the set, I go, man, I used to be in the Dingies. What happened? Like I like it was one of the same things.
Is
Like,
this real life?
I shouldn't be here.
Is
like
this real life?
I was
Like,
the drummer in a punk rock reggae ska band on Tooth and Nail Records in '98, and now I'm what?
Dude.
This doesn't make sense.
it's crazy.
It's the weirdest. Life takes you to some crazy places, and I don't know how to explain it sometimes, but I'm going along for the ride. So
Yeah, and it's a lot of it is just being willing to say yes to those things. That you
yeah.
know, because sometimes it's not like someone just goes, "Hey, here's the perfect opportunity."
Right, yeah.
Someone goes, "Hey, this could be a thing. It's probably not," and then you go do it, and it leads to something great. You
yeah,
know?
totally.
I love that, man.
Yeah, man.
Life should be summer camp.
Touring can definitely be summer camp with a little work mixed in here and there,
Right.
because you're in a different city every day.
Oh yeah,
It's days off. You can do whatever you want. Like
Right.
it's not like someone's saying, "All right, get in bed by 10." Like
right,
you could, it feels like summer camp and but without rules. you know?
right. Well, and when you're on tour, I mean, a lot of it is your travel is kind of taken care of. You just get in the thing and
Just
get there.
get there.
And so people don't realize, they're like, "Oh man, you're so busy. You're doing all those things." It's like, I'm gonna perform for an hour tonight.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 days of nothing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're definitely busier when you're like a crew guy, and
Right.
like when I was working as a guitar tech, it's like another one of those things. You just, hey, I don't have a playing gig right now. I'll just jump into this. Like
Yep.
you do what you got to do. I didn't particularly enjoy it. tuning the guitar for the guy.
Right,
I want to be
right.
the guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're a musician, and you're at the level where you have like a crew and techs and stuff like that, unless you have like press or something, you don't have a lot going on during the day. You'll
Right.
sleep until noon. You might sound check at 3
Yeah.
or 4, shows at like 9 or 10 for an hour and a half, and then then party again. It's
Yeah.
like that's just how it is. And some bands are busier. I mean, if you're maybe a more mid-level band that doesn't have a big crew or something, you're doing a lot more of the work yourself. Like
Yeah.
all right, we're gonna load in ourselves, then we're gonna sound check. I'll go set up merch. I'll go do this with the promoter, and one guy acts as tour manager, and
Yeah.
So you just it depends on your situation. I've been in that situation where you all have to pitch in and be your own crew, and that's how everyone kind of starts. In a van and trailer and
Right.
doing it, and
Yeah. Sleeping on the gear in the back of the van.
yeah, done that. Flipped a van in Montana one time. All sorts of things have
Flipped
happened.
it like
yeah.
it just rolled, or
Yeah, rolled over. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
It was real fun. It
was it a rental?
Nope. It was not a rental. That was when I was in the Dingies. We had driven to Seattle to play a show.
Yeah.
We were on. Do you remember the festival Cornerstone?
Oh,
out
totally.
in Illinois.
Totally.
It was like the punk
was
rock
massive.
Christian festival.
Yeah, that was like the mecca of Christian punk rock.
That was like the one Christian festival where you'd be walking around and be like, "Yep,
Right.
someone's smoking weed."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it was cool there. Like everyone's kind of
Right.
hippie and punk rock.
Right.
But yeah. So we drove. We were on basically eventually going to get to Cornerstone. We drove. Maybe played a couple shows up the West Coast, but we ended up in Seattle. Played a show, stayed the night with the MXPX guys.
Yeah.
Bought their trailer. And the next, let's see, we were somewhere in Montana, and it was maybe a day later. It was like
Yeah.
6 a.m. We'd been driving all night to get to Cornerstone, and our sax player had never driven with the trailer before. So we're like, okay, cool. This is a good time. There's no cars out here.
Yeah.
Let's just cruise. Everyone's asleep in the back. And it was me and him. And he just reached down for his big old CD book back then. No iPods.
dude.
And he kind of hit the rumble strips, and he's like freaking out. I was like, dude, just ease it back over into the lane. You're cool. It's real easy.
Yeah.
And he couldn't move.
He just froze.
He froze. And then all of a sudden the left tires are hitting the dirt and then the grass.
No.
And then he all of a sudden he moves and just starts to overcorrect it. And we start fishtailing like 70 miles an hour with the trailer. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's terrifying.
It was terrifying. Yes. And the dudes in the back just start screaming because they're waking up to this.
Oh my god.
I'm in the passenger seat up front, like hanging on, like riding shotgun, like, oh my God, this might be it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I might die right now.
Everything's in slow
I'm like
motion.
18. I can't die now. Like,
Yeah.
And then what we didn't know was a truck driver saw this. The trailer had snapped off. And as we were about this point, I'd guess 50 miles an hour, sliding sideways on the median, the trailer was rolling behind us, like tumbling.
No. With all your gear in
All
it.
the gear in it. It's like a dryer
dude.
behind us. And eventually, like, the van hit something and we flipped on our side. And so then I was kind of hanging in the air now.
Oh, because you're on the passenger.
Because on the passenger side, our sax player Dave, who was driving, is freaking out like something supernatural happened or something.
Yeah.
Like he is like, oh my god, and he's like climbing over me to climb out of the van, and I finally look back. I'm like, is everyone okay? They're like, yeah, we're fine. I'm like, no one's hurt. Like, nope. Okay, cool. Let's get out of the van in case it's on fire or something. We had no idea. So this truck driver pulls over and he's like, man, that was crazy. We're like, what? We're like, that thing was tumbling.
You didn't get to see what happened.
Yeah, we didn't even see this thing. And we get out of the van and the trailer had landed and stopped like 2 feet from the back of the van.
Tore up.
It wasn't that bad. It was weird.
You're like, man, it kind of looks more punk rock now.
Yeah, I think we needed to replace like one of the tires, and definitely the trailer tongue was like bent. It fully bent that thick steel.
Oh,
I got pictures I'll show you after we're done here, in this old album. But and it was just one of those things. Like we sat there. I think the truck driver called a tow truck for us.
Yeah,
took like 2 hours for the tow truck to show up. We were in the. I mean, when people joke, I'm in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing around.
Yeah.
We looked around. We couldn't see any city, nothing.
Right.
Finally, tow truck showed up and got the van. And I think he had to call another tow truck to come back and get the trailer or something.
Right.
We ended up in a town called Hardin, Montana. That was like, I mean, we're these like 18, 19, 20-year-old like punk rock kids. I had like a red mohawk at the time.
You're like, this is way too much responsibility for us to be dealing with.
That, and we're in this little tiny town in Montana, and people were looking at us like we're the devil. And we were stuck there all day, and the mechanic tried to rip us off. We eventually got, it was cheaper for us to get another flatbed tow truck to tow our van and trailer to like Billings or Bozeman or something.
Yep, where there's like more options to fix it.
Yeah, a little bigger city. And the last thing we did before we took off was the tow truck driver was like, I can't take all you guys in the cab. And we talked him into letting us ride in the van on the back of the flatbed truck.
Are you serious?
He let us, yeah.
That's fantastic,
like
man.
Two dudes right up front, and he's like, just stay down, don't sit up. So we're like, cool. We like laid on the floor, and it was like extra shaky up there. I'm like, we're gonna die here. Like it was.
That's summer camp.
But that's summer camp, man. That's summer camp. That's like, those are those memories you have, like no matter what your profession is, where it's like, this can't get any worse. This is so ridiculous, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. You know?
Yeah. These are the stories. Like nobody wants to have that happen.
No, of course not.
But that's all we talk about when we're at parties, when we're hanging out. Like those are the stories we tell. It's the best stuff. Man.
It's one of those things you look back on, and I'm like, man, I'm glad it happened that way. Yeah, it sucked at the time, and it cost us a lot of money, but like, those are the hurdles you have to cross when you're starting out, and you have to get those bumps and bruises when you're starting out in any form of entertainment. You got to fail sometimes. You got to get knocked down sometimes, and
and realize it's part of the process. Not some people would have that happen and be like, well, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. But it's like, I mean, I think a big part of even just having a career is just not quitting. It's because there are those times where you're like, do I really want to go through this again?
Right. Yeah. Well, sometimes you love something so much that, the times that you're not making money at it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you still love it, like right now, like music isn't my income.
Right.
Which is like the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And it was kind of scary at first, but I'm like, it's going to be okay. Yeah. It's fine. Like I'm making money this way right now for the time being. And I still have my gear, and I'm writing, and I just did a record and blah, blah, blah. And I'm still doing music,
Yeah.
I'll do that until I can't move my arms anymore or I die, like that's just what I do.
And how encouraging for people who are listening, because I know that there's guys who are listening that are like wanting to get a band, wanting to make it happen. And sometimes I feel like the over-filtered version of what they see doesn't prepare them for what. Because there's going to be those days where you're like, I really hope they buy T-shirts tonight.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how we're going to get gas to get to the next city.
Oh, yeah. Been there, man. It sucks. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have a credit card or something, and but you don't want to add money to that,
Right.
But there's plenty of times, where you just, or it's like I said, you're not even making money at music, but like you have that passion for it and that love for it. And if you want to start a band in your city or township, wherever you live, like just do it.
Yeah.
Go into it knowing that like there's a good chance you're not going to make it.
Right.
I've been doing solo music for a couple of years, and like I have no expectations that I'm going to be huge. You know what I mean? Like I do it because I love it. And if there's a few people out there that dig it, then great.
So cool.
And, if it became a way for me to make money as a solo artist, then amazing. That would be incredible. But I've just been doing it long enough now where, it's easier to not get let down anymore. Like,
yeah, that's
like, that is going to happen eventually, but yeah, if you want to start a band, play locally, have fun. Like that's how everyone starts. And eventually that's, I think, how you should always look at it, like you're the local band that's just having a great time at summer camp. Like,
totally,
like my intentions when I picked up a guitar weren't like, I'm going to pay a mortgage with this one day.
I know.
It was just like, oh my God, I can play guitar and I can learn this Green Day song or this whatever song. Like, I can play it just like James Hetfield did.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And, it grows from there and you meet more people and maybe you start getting a little following around your city and stuff. But if you don't, it doesn't make it any less fun.
Right.
Like I still play solo shows around Nashville sometimes. It's a couple times a year and sometimes there's 10 people there.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's still
great.
fun. I don't care, like especially in a town like this where everyone's doing country, Americana or pop, and I'm either doing like punk rock or ska or reggae in a town that barely exists. Yeah. And that's fun for me to be the kind of black sheep of East Nashville.
That should be the title of this episode.
Yeah. The black sheep of East Nashville.
I love it though, man. It's encouraging me right now to hear you talk with such passion about look, we're doing the thing already. Like regardless of how it's received or how much money you make at it, you get to do the thing you want to do.
Yeah, totally.
And you don't need permission to do that. You just go do it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I got kind of like down on myself. As I've dealt with, like you talked about panic attack earlier, I've dealt with like pretty gnarly anxiety for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Thank God I've kind of wrangled it, which is great. But at one point, like after I'd finished working with Kings of Leon and was kind of like, I remember always telling my wife, like before I finished that job, I'm like, I just want to like be home a little more and just work on my own music and like maybe make money somewhere else for a while. And that's what I want to do. And and then when I started doing that, and then I was kind of getting bummed about that, my wife's like, this is what you wanted to do. I'm like, yes, you're right. Okay. And I have to kind of remind myself like, okay, I'm doing what I set out to do after that last job which I knew that I was going to probably struggle more financially, but I'm fulfilling this dream of my own. It's a small dream, but it's one.
It's beautiful.
And it happened, and I made my own record, and I'm with my friends and wife more and not missing out on things this year, and it's been cool. So, like, it doesn't matter the level you're at. Like, if you have something you're passionate about, whether it's music or magic, whatever, just find a way to do it and go perform for people, and it's fun.
Yeah.
If you make $5, great. If you make $0, great. It's just fun.
Yeah. And you got to enjoy the process. You can't. Yeah.
And I think if you're consistently playing music or doing something you're passionate about, and it stops being fun, then there's something internally there with your band or maybe yourself. Yeah. That needs to be fixed or removed, or you just need to stop. Yeah. Some people I've had musician friends that just force it for years, and they tour, and eventually their band breaks up and they're just like, I can't do it anymore. And they sell all their gear and they never touch an instrument again and just stop. And that's crazy to me. Yeah. I'm like completely bonkers to you're in my studio and see all my guitars and gear I have collected for a long
I'm totally geeking out.
Yeah. I've collected for years and I have lots of random crap in here, but I can't imagine just one day going, I'm done.
Well, and they've all been a part of your life. I mean, you know what I mean?
Totally. Like there's some newer things in here, but I can point out guitars where I'm like, oh, I played that on this Supertones record. I played this on whatever. Yeah. I've got a old behind that. There's this, you guys at home can't see this, but there's a storage shelf behind me with a packing blanket hiding the organized chaos behind it. There's an old snare drum in there that has the bottom head taken off that I used it as like a makeshift timbali. Oh, that's cool. When I was touring with the Dingies. It was in that trailer that was tumbling.
Flying all around.
I still have it. Still use it. You get that sentimental stuff. I know it's just stuff and it's all, I can't, it's
no, but it matters.
It matters now,
and that's where the part of the passion shows. You know what I mean? Is that it's not just some, this isn't a hammer I use for work. No, this is part of my life. Yeah, part of my journey. And
well, I think it's easy to say it's just stuff you can't take with you when you die, but like that telly is is bigger than just it's a cool looking guitar with a Clash sticker on it.
Right.
You know, it's like, man, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that guitar, and I've written a lot of songs on that, or that thing's gone to Europe and whatever. Stuff like that is cool, you know, to look and think back about the story behind a piece of gear or something, you know.
Yeah.
And or maybe a song I wrote on that guitar help somebody that lives in Alaska deal with something they're going through. Like, to me, it's important and crazy and humbling at the same time, you know.
It's beautiful. I want to ask, because I know you've played, and more than played, you've been in so many different bands, and you've toured with so many different artists,
right?
And when you're in that environment, it really is like a summer camp thing. You quickly become a family.
Oh yeah,
you're all you got for the 6 weeks or a month or 6 months, you know. And what is it like when you realize, okay, this project or this band is going to stop working together, touring? What is it like on the? I mean, I know you probably still stay connected with people, but it's kind of like moving away. You're not living together all the time.
It's a little weird. Like, well, with the Kings of Leon job, for instance, you know, I was with them for 4.5 years and got really close to some of the crew guys that live here in Nashville. Specifically this guy, Jay, the bass tech, and Nacho, who's the guys in the band's cousin. And we became really close. And when I knew it was coming to an end, it was weird, but with that camp, they would take such long breaks. Yeah. Like, we'd be on tour for like 2 months straight in Europe and UK, and then we'd come home and have like 2 months off.
Okay.
So when we got done with the last thing I ended up doing in Mexico City, we knew there was a ton of time off. So it just felt like normal. Yeah, we're just flying home. We got a bunch of time off, whatever. But
it wasn't like, oh, this is my last.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was gonna be my last show, because I knew that they weren't, you know, they were taking such a long amount of time off. They kind of like trimmed a lot of the fat on their crew, and they, you know, let some people go. And so, that's normal. That's the business, you know. But and I had a good feeling that I was one of those, you know. Plus, I was feeling kind of done anyways. I was just, you know, ready to, like we talked about earlier, just to kind of be home more and, you know, around my wife and friends. And and so, but there's times, like, you know, where things are coming to an end where it's kind of a bummer, like, especially like when you meet like the opening band and they're like, you know,
right.
Like when I was in the Supertones, Relient K, or whatever, like, we really hit it off with the opening band and still remain friends. But it's like, man, we just saw each other every single day for 2 months straight.
Oh yeah. And
had amazing memories. And now it's just like, bye.
Yeah.
You know, see you maybe this summer at a festival, or next year if you come through Nashville, or, you know, so that's where, like, if you really make a good connection and a good relationship with somebody, that's where, like, I think being persistent and kind of maintaining that relationship you just created or just formed, and, you know, maintaining that past the tour. You know, like, one example I can think of is this band called Barcelona. They were great. They don't really play anymore, but their singer Brian and I got really close. Yeah. He's got a new music project, and, like, you know, I was listening to his new release not too long ago, and I was texting him, like, you know, we may not text or talk for like months, but when we do, it's awesome. You know, it's like, because you made those really great connections early on.
It's like you just pick up, like no time has passed.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like seeing someone for the first time in a while and being like, man, what the heck, man? Where you, you know, where you been?
Yeah.
Unless you can tell someone's purposefully avoiding you, then maybe that's a valid question. But in general, if it's like, you know, time just kind of makes people, you know, more distant, and then when you come back together, it's like, oh, dude, how you been? You pick up where you left off, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I like about
totally,
because, you know, in this business, you make so many friends all over the world. Sometimes, you know, it's like I can go to Europe now and, like, oh, I can stay with a friend in Germany or in Croatia or whatever, you know. So it's cool to maintain those relationships, even if it's, you know, every few months you check in. And I think with social media, it makes it a little easier, because you scroll through your phone, you're like, oh,
you feel like you're connected, and you see what they're doing. And,
exactly. I mean, I just met you over Instagram and started following you, and I was like, oh, Taylor's here. Like, I'm thinking like we're friends, like we've known each other forever or something.
It's
you know,
crazy, man. It's wild.
It is weird how it connects people. Like, I mean, I'm sure in good and bad ways, but like, yeah. I mean, I've become friends with people through social media. It's so weird. Cool. It's weird and kind of like, I don't know. It feels like if someone would have told me about this kind of technology before it came out, I'd be like, that's insane.
That's insane.
I'm not gonna meet up with somebody I met online.
Right.
Like,
Oh yeah,
They're going to kill me. They're going to stab me in the heart.
Well, and sometimes that happens.
True. Unfortunately, that can happen.
Downside
Yes.
of social media, but I feel like the negative side of social media is when people don't use it socially. You know, when
Sure,
it's not.
yeah.
But it is very cool that you have the opportunity to connect with people that, I mean, I wouldn't have known how to run into you somewhere,
right?
You know, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, totally, man.
It goes back to just making friends and having a good time.
Yeah, man. It's like online summer camp.
It is online summer camp.
Yeah, man. Sometimes the tools with social media can come in handy too. It's like, obviously we use it to promote ourselves and, hey, I'm doing this magic show here. I put on this new record, blah, blah, blah. But, like me and my buddy Jack, who's actually coming with me tonight.
Yeah.
He plays guitar in this band called Bayside. I don't know if you know them or not, but him and I, he does solo music too.
Oh, cool.
And just for fun, we were like, we should take a week and hop in your Honda Civic and through social media, see if we can book like a little solo tour.
Yeah.
So we did 6 shows in a week and hopped in his Honda Civic. We each played solo. We had 2 pedal boards, 2 guitars, 2 suitcases, and 2 backpacks.
Oh, that's great.
And just went and cruised around. And it was like, we booked it all through like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. It
Just
was
said,
awesome.
Hey, we want to come through. Who wants, we're going to have a show.
Yeah, real DIY, which is like, I mean, that's becoming more and more popular nowadays with,
like house shows and things
house
like
shows,
that.
yeah, self-book shows. I mean, I don't know if you got into like Pedro the Lion or Dave
I
Bazan.
loved Pedro, yeah.
Yeah, so Dave Bazan has been doing the house show thing for years.
Really?
Yeah, I
See,
mean,
I didn't even know that.
yeah, he does that kind of stuff. I'm assuming Damien Dorado, he's another great artist that he's been doing that stuff.
Okay.
There's a guy named Rocky Vodolato from Seattle, great singer-songwriter that he does a lot of house shows.
Yeah, I have a friend, Dan Snyder, out of Atlanta. He's got a band called Paper Lights. And
Okay.
they told me they're the first ones who told me about house shows, and I was like, I can't believe this is real. Like, it just sounds so cool.
When we were young, house shows were free.
Well, yeah,
It was just a party.
I remember seeing MXPX in the backyard of another guy named Nacho's house.
Okay.
When we were like 13 years old.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Dude, I mean, when I was in the Dingies, we did a house show in Orange County with MXPX.
Yeah.
They were in town mixing record. We're like, hey, we're doing this. It was in like an apartment complex. It wasn't even an actual house. And MXPX were like, sure, can we use your gear? We're like, yeah, of course, come on, hang out. Because we already kind of knew those dudes back then, and it got shut down pretty quick by the cops. But
oh yeah, I think half of the Tooth and Nail shows got shut down back
totally.
in the day too.
But yeah, back in the day, house shows were like, hey, someone's throwing a party, your band want to play? Sure. Now house shows are like ticketed events. It's crazy. There's a whole house show network online now. Like, I can't remember the name of it, but that dude Rocky Vodolato was talking about, it's like where you buy the tickets through. It's not Ticketmaster or Ticketfly. It's something else. I can't remember, but it has to do with house shows.
Oh wow!
But people like that stuff. Like it's intimate. It's in someone's house, obviously, or in their space. I know sometimes house shows will be like in the backyard or in like a cool barn or something. But I've been to a few like while I'm on tour or in Nashville, and it's like there's something cool and intimate about it. Where me and these 20 people only get to see this guy like this,
right?
Rather than at a club with big production and stuff. And usually it's a guy with an acoustic and no PA. So it's a cool experience, I mean, those house shows will be like a little more expensive, like $20 or something, but you're getting a unique experience out of it.
Yeah, and it's cool that it takes the attention off of, we want to play for as many people as possible.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Who are having drinks and probably don't even know what our music is.
Yeah.
Or I'd rather be with 40 people in a living room that really care about this music.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to mean something to them.
I would love to love if I could one day as a solo artist just do house shows.
Wouldn't that be rad, dude?
It's so fun. I just hop in my car and bring 2 acoustics and just drive around the country. And
that'd be so rad.
It'd be so fun. Because, I mean, whenever it was like when me and my buddy Jack went on the road together. I mean, we played like bars and venues and stuff, but we were doing the stripped down thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we fit everything but our 2 guitars in his trunk. It was awesome. And like every once in a while we're like, summer camp, we're like, dude, let's pull over and eat Taco Bell. Like, we never eat that at home. Right. It's so bad for you, but let's go eat Taco Bell.
Do it.
Like,
yeah.
That was so much fun.
And I'm getting cinnamon twists.
Yep. I don't care what you say.
I'm pretending it's my birthday.
That's right. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, and now you've been doing solo projects for your solo project for years, but now you just crowdfunded a new album.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. It's
what was that experience like? Were you nervous that like, what if we don't get?
I was so nervous. Well, I was nervous, but again, my wife and some friends kept reminding me like, hey, look, if it doesn't work out,
Yeah.
And I had a backup plan.
Right. You could still figure out a way to.
Basically, like my demos that I was doing in here in my studio, I was spending a ton of time on them to make them sound as good as I could.
Yeah.
So that if the crowdfunding didn't happen, I could pay my friend just to mix my demos really well and release that as a record.
Oh,
so that
cool.
was
and
I would have been proud of that too.
Yeah.
But my goal was, my buddy Paul Moak, who I recorded with, I did my last EP with. His studio is incredible. It's like, I try to make this, I call it, his studio is called Smokestack.
Yeah.
So I always joke that this is Smokestack Light.
That's
or
awesome.
Diet Smokestack. Because his studio is obviously like as big as my house and more.
Yeah. And
there's just guitars everywhere and gear everywhere that makes this look like nothing. But and he's just a great producer and a great friend. And I was like, I was playing him the demos. He was really excited about it. And I was like, dude, I'm going back to kind of like reggae ska stuff. And he was like, that's awesome. So so before I actually crowdfunded it, on Kickstarter, I started with Pledge Music.
Okay.
And long story short, I had a really bad experience trying to sign up for Pledge Music. They turned me down.
Really?
Yeah.
I have no experience.
And
with
I
that.
thought they kind of approved everybody because from what I always could tell, because I've had multiple friends that have done Pledge Music campaigns.
Yeah.
So long story short, I was filling out all the stuff to sign up. And I set my goal, and they came back and said, "We feel your goal is too high." I said, "Cool." So I lowered it, submitted it again, and then they said, "We feel you don't have enough of a online presence, and your goal is too high." I was like, "This is the goal you recommended." They gave me a number. We think you should do this, and I put it in. They still turned me down, and so I wrote them back like a long email, and not like because I was like, pissed off. I was just kind of like, listen, at least let me get my heart out to these people. I mean, I was bummed, of course, but I just wanted them to know that I thought their sign up process was pretty unfair to like small independent artists.
Right. Isn't that the whole purpose of their existence?
That's what I thought. Yeah. Like, well, they didn't ask like all the other ways I was going to help promote the campaign. All they asked for was like, not even Twitter. I think it was like
your Instagram handle. And
nope, not that.
No?
It was like, how big is your email list and your Facebook page maybe?
What?
And my Facebook page isn't that big, but like my Twitter and Instagram and all this other stuff, I have a lot of followers or a big audience.
Yeah.
So I explained all that to him and just said, look, I feel like it's unfair. You didn't ask all these other avenues I would be promoting this, and I mentioned that I had 2 different podcasts that have all these followers and blah, blah, blah. I went down the list.
Yeah.
And my point wasn't to get back on it or to have them approve me. It was just to prove a point or just make a point by saying, look, and at the time I went to like their main page and it was like bands that were kind of big doing Pledge Music. So I'm like, and my last thing I wrote was basically like, I just don't feel like you're giving the small artists like myself a chance.
Yeah.
And I said, thanks, but no thanks kind of thing. See you later. And some copy and pasted response got back to me like, we're sorry you feel this way. Oh, they told me to try out their sister company, Noise Trade, to gain fans. And I wrote back again and said, I've been on Noise Trade for 6 years.
Maybe do some research, guys.
I was like, I know the co-owner of Noise Trade, and I've been featured every time I release something. So thanks, guys. Yeah, I just felt like Pledge Music was, and I'm not trying to like talk crap on them. It's just what happened.
Right.
It just felt like they in my experience, were like just disconnected. So I waited a little bit, and then I saw that MXPX did their Kickstarter, and I was like, maybe I should check out Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So I did and set it all up. And then the night that I launched it, like my wife had already gone to bed. And I was down here by myself, like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I put the goal back to where I originally had it with Pledge Music. And within 48 hours, I hit my goal.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. And I ended up going, I did a 30-day campaign. I ended up going almost $4,000 over what my goal was.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I really want to mail one of my vinyl records to Pledge Music.
You totally should.
With a note that says like, hey, I just want to thank you guys for turning me down. Without you, I wouldn't have not been able to make this.
Right. Here's what your commission would have been, but please accept this record instead. I think that'd
be pretty funny to send them a vinyl.
You totally need to do it.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was a cool experience. I mean, of course you're nervous about it, because it's kind of like you might put it out in the public eye that you're about to fail. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if you don't get it, everyone knows. And not that I'm terribly concerned about what people think about me, but it's just kind of, you're putting it out there on this pedestal like, hey, look at this thing I'm doing. I'm so excited. And then if it doesn't happen, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
I'm just go ahead and pull that back real quick.
Right.
But yeah, man, I mean, I was fairly confident I was going to hit the goal. but for it to go over and happen as fast as it did,
That's
it just
great.
blew me away, man.
And not to have to wait, for all this, to come in. You could actually get started pretty quick. And
yeah, man. I mean, let's see, I launched that thing in April, I think.
Yeah.
In May, I went out on this tour playing guitar for this reggae band. The campaign ended while I was on tour, and 2 days after I got back from the tour, I started my record.
That's great.
So I just went just one after another, and the record's done, mixed, mastered.
It's rad.
I have the test pressings for the vinyl sitting right behind you, actually, in that little box.
I saw your Instagram post.
Yeah. I just got them yesterday morning.
Cool.
Yeah, the vinyl sounds great. The CDs are done. I'll give you a CD before you leave. But,
rad, man.
I'm still not sure when's the Kickstarter backers already have it. I gave it to them way early, but I'll release it. I'm not sure of an exact date yet. It won't be long from now. I'll be like first week or second week of October or something. Okay. I thought about releasing it on my birthday because I'm turning 40 on October 16th.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It'd be kind of cool to release a record on my birthday.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, birthday party, record release party.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'll be in the mountains for my birthday this year, so.
Well, it could be a party of
just me and my wife and a couple friends. We'll basically be
private party,
sitting in an inner tube on a river behind our cabin Airbnb.
Oh, that's the best, man.
My favorite thing to do on my birthday. My wife's like, "You want to go to an island?" Because she likes going to more warmer places. Like we went to the Bahamas for her 40th last year, but I'm like, no, in the woods, cabin,
in the woods,
on the river. Yep,
dude,
that's my favorite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know when I'm going to release it exactly. I'll know in the next few days probably.
How can people stay in touch or find it? Like if go follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, I'd say just follow me on social media if you want to. You can just search Ethan Luck and it'll usually be the first one to pop up because my name is fairly unique.
Yeah.
Instagram is Ethan Luck, Twitter is Ethan Luck. I think on Facebook it's Ethan Luck Music, but I'm most active on, I'd say, Instagram.
Okay.
You can go to ethanluck.com. I update that somewhat regularly. So
that's great, man.
Yeah, I'm on iTunes, I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you can get digital music, I'm there. I mean, the distribution service I use puts you everywhere.
Puts it all out there.
There's streaming services I've never even heard of that I'm on.
Isn't that wild?
It's so weird, yeah. But
yeah, sometimes I've searched for like previous episodes of this podcast.
Yeah,
and it's come up on some website that I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, one of my podcasts is on Spotify now, and I'm like, oh, okay.
You're like, you didn't even put it up there?
Nope.
That's great.
Well, I think it's just through our service. We use this one called Simplecast. And
they kind of manage all that.
Yeah, I think they did it, which it's fine. It's free either way. So,
tell people real quick about the podcasts and what you're doing with those.
Yeah, I do too. So, about 2 years ago, I started my first podcast, which it was really tough to keep or to maintain every single week. And my goal was to have a guest every week.
Yeah.
But being a touring musician, it got really tough. So I've only put out maybe 25, 30, maybe 25 episodes in 2 years. It's not a full-time thing at all. But I think the first 2 months I was pretty consistent because I was home a lot. But now it's very part-time. I'll kind of do it here and there when I feel like it. But the other reason is that I have a full-time podcast called Metal Up Your Podcast. It's an all Metallica podcast. So it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
There is some explicit lyrics in that podcast,
right?
Because it's metal,
right?
No, but I briefly mentioned to you before I started recording, but yeah, a friend of mine, Clint Wells, and I became friends because of that band, and I had the idea to start another podcast one day, and I was like, "There's no Metallica podcast out there. Why not start the first one?"
Yeah.
So I came up with I designed the logo, I came up with the name, and got all the Instagram and social media handles. And we launched it January 1st of 2017.
Yeah.
And it's grown like crazy. We're about to put out our 90th episode. In addition to like sub episodes we've put out in bonus content. We've got merch now, a website. We've got about 20,000 downloads a month. We've got...
That's rad.
It's crazy, man. I mean, we're getting people emailing us every single day.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
like, man, if I could get like 20% of this for my music, I'd be stoked.
Right.
But what's cool is some of the people, so it's such a niche thing we're doing. It's
right.
Metallic. It's not like we're doing a heavy metal podcast. It's just Metallica.
Just Metallica.
And I guess things that kind of relate to them. Like we'll touch on, other bands that they're kind of connected with and stuff. But what's cool is I feel like Clint and I have opened up a lot of people's minds to different kinds of music.
Yeah.
So we do these sub episodes called Metal Up Your Podcast Radio, where we kind of play clips of other genres of music and we just do them solo by ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll play clips of other stuff we're listening to that's non-metal.
That's great.
Or like I played a couple of clips of my new record one time, and I had a few of our listeners on that podcast like donate to my Kickstarter. a dude hit me up the other day. He's like, man, I've been listening to your record a bunch. Like, I've never liked reggae music, but you really like opened me up. This is cool. Like, I dig this.
It's so cool.
So it's rad to, the way someone turned me on to that kind of music or this kind of music when I was younger.
Right.
Like, yeah, we're kind of doing that with our podcast too. It's like, it's become a really cool community. Like,
yep.
We did a 1-year anniversary party at this local pub in town, and like a bunch of people came out. We're going to do our 2-year anniversary party, / night before Metallica plays here party. And we've already had like dozens of our listeners like email us like, we're coming into the Nashville show. Let us know where the party is. And so we're going to host this like podcast Metallica party. Yeah, at this, there's a little bar down the street called the Cobra that I have a couple of friends that work there, and they let us kind of come in there and do our thing.
Dude, you got to get some of the guys to get someone from the band will come out.
That's the goal. I think eventually,
before, bro, they're here.
Maybe some of their
here.
I know a couple of the crew guys on the Metallica camp, so they'll probably show up unless they're working the night before. But you never know, man. It's just something we both love the band. I have since I was in like 6th grade. And it's just something fun to do, man. It's just, it's another little creative outlet. It's another form of entertainment like we're talking about.
Yeah.
Some days it's like, we don't have as good a response. Some days it's better, but it's just, at the end of the day, it's just fun,
And that is my takeaway from this episode is just do the thing you want to do and have fun. Enjoy
Summer camp,
it.
man.
Life should be summer camp. That should be a podcast. The summer camp podcast.
Summer camp 2018, man. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if anyone's interested in my other podcast, it's called The Pirate Satellite.
The Pirate Satellite.
Yeah. No, I just talk to like artists of all kinds, similar to what you're doing, I guess.
That's great.
It's like musicians. Talking to my buddy who's a tattoo artist. My friend Amanda, who is a clothing designer, who was on Project Runway. Like people like that. Just some people, creatives.
That's awesome.
So
man.
I'm gonna try to pick that podcast back up a little bit. I'll have you on my podcast.
I'd love it.
Yeah,
I would love it.
We might be able to do that before the week's over. You here till when? Sunday?
I'm here till Sunday night. Yeah.
You fly home Sunday night?
I fly home Monday.
Oh, so you're still performing? You're performing 7 nights?
7 nights, man.
4 shows a night?
4 shows a night. It's crazy.
Now let me ask you this. I'll save most of these questions for my podcast.
No, that's great. Yeah.
Are you? Is it so? I'm relating this to being in a band and writing out a set list.
Yeah.
Are you kind of doing the same routine every night, or mixing it up a bit?
Well, so last night was my 3rd night.
Yeah.
And up until then, it was tweaking and changing.
Okay.
I feel right now I could probably do what I did last night the rest of the week.
Okay.
It would work great for the venue.
Sure.
But I'm trying a lot of different jokes and comedy stuff that I just want to do.
Yeah,
throughout.
totally.
So, yeah, I'll keep tweaking it and mixing it up.
28 tries to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. That's the best about doing a venue like this or like the Magic Castle in LA.
Yeah.
Usually it's one nighter event somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
And the audience changes, so the response is different based on the environment,
right,
where people are at and what's happening that evening. So it's great to be in the same spot and go, okay, I'm going to take what I just did and I'm going to do it different 20 minutes from now.
Yeah,
it's
totally
fantastic.
That's awesome. Well, dude, I can't wait to come tonight.
I'm so excited, man. We're gonna hang. You're gonna show me some vegan eats here in Nashville.
There's some good spots. The good thing about Nashville too is that we have a lot of good veggie vegan spots now, but a lot of restaurants,
they're
very friendly to that kind of lifestyle and stuff. So we're a cool city now with like good options and stuff.
So rad, man.
Although LA's got some of the best.
LA spoils people with food.
Dude,
we have
got native foods and Veggie Grill and
right. Oh, dude,
Crossroads. You've been
True
there?
Foods? No, I haven't been to Crossroads.
True Foods. I think we might have one.
Yeah, I heard one just opened here.
I think it did. Is the cat back?
Yeah, the cat just attacked me again. I think he wants to play, or he sees me as a threat.
I think he sees you as a threat. Yeah.
He's a pretty hardcore
finish this
looking
dumb
cat.
show, man.
He's like,
hang out with me.
I don't like what's happening.
Too much shouting.
Well, we're gonna go get some food, and then we're gonna do the whole Magic Dungeon Nashville thing tonight.
I haven't been in this place yet either.
It's rad, dude. I've
heard it's awesome. Yeah,
it's really.
And you're
cool.
gonna get to see me like wear a actual jacket for the first time since probably the Supertones.
Oh, it's the best.
They have a hard dress code there, so
it's awesome, man. Well, thank you for doing this,
dude. My pleasure, man.
Everybody, go right now. Click on the show notes. I will put links to the podcast and to Ethan's social media, and be sure to pick up his new record. I know you're gonna love it.
It's gonna be fun.